And towards the end, it was so difficult that it was like going 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd be on the phone to Samaritans, just trying to get through one more day. And I think the reason I did that was because of the children, because I kept thinking to myself, even if I feel like they'd be better off without me, which is obviously what people feel when they go through that kind of, wanting to end things. They think everyone will be better off without me. And of course I had those thoughts as well. But I always remembered reading about children of parents who had taken their own life, had ended things. I was remember reading about the poet Sylvia Plath, um, and how badly her children had done in life afterwards, how suffer depression, and I think one of her other children went on to end their lives as well. Very, very tragic, because they go on with this feeling, wasn't I enough? Was I not enough? So they internalize and personalize the actions of someone else. And so I had that feeling like I can't have them. I can't put that on them, even if I think that they are better off without me. And I think when I left, one of the things that kept me going was this looking at my son. And of course, I'd lost my daughter, but I kept looking at him thinking, I don't never want him to think, was I not enough? Like, yes, you lost your daughter, but am I not enough for you to carry on, for you to take that responsibility, for you to actually live a life? Because it wasn't good enough just to live a life that was like just depressed, or woe is me, or just not to get on with it for the sake of him. So I think that was a really good incentive, I'd say, initially. Now I'm out of that kind of phase. It's not, I don't have to rely on that anymore, although it is a useful anchor from time to time. But I think if people can find that reason, that sense of meaning, that's a really good place for people to start in their own recovery. That there is a meaning. There's always meaning, and the meaning is whatever you make it. So remember listening to a lecture from Richard Dawkins. He was talking to a group of children in a religious school, and they asked him something about, well, what's the meaning of life then? He said, well, it's whatever you make it mean. And I thought, well, yes, that's true, isn't it? Because whether you're religious or not, the meaning of life is whatever meaning you give it. So yeah. And for me,
Yeah.
the meaning of my life is I feel like I have a purpose here in bringing something to the world. I want to bring something and leave it here for when I'm gone. It's really important to me. So yeah.
And the biocoding is part of that.
Yeah, it is. So I think once I'd settled down and I was able to kind of have some time to myself and take stock, I realized that a lot of the notes I've been taking, I'm a very diligent note taker, and I'm a keen observer of people and my clients. And for years I've been taking notes on micro movements and tiny little inflections and tones, and how the body would speak to me. So for a long time, like, clients used to call me the body whisperer, because they say I could talk to the body, which was sort of true. I have an interesting phenomena called mirror touch synesthesia. Do you know what that is?
No.
So a synesthesia is a crossing of senses. So for example, you can taste a word, right? That's a synesthesia. So you're crossing two senses, or more. And mirror touch synesthesia is when you perceive, like, let's say someone punches you on the shoulder, my shoulder hurts. So my brain perceives your sensation as my own. It doesn't perceive it as your sensation that I have empathy for. It interprets, that's mine. It's my sensation. And when I would do body works with people, it started to become more and more sensitive, where I would just place like a thumb on a muscle or something. And to me, I have a very strange way of describing things, but it would feel like a toothache in my thumb or something like that. Like these very strange kind of sensations, but I was able to work in a way that was highly effective, much more than mere technique, where I'm able to kind of determine very, very minor nuances in the response of the muscle to even the lightest pressure. And so I started to develop my own massage, different types of massages. So I did one for specifically for fibromyalgia, which was a very, very sensory oriented massage that incorporated touch in time to sound, with a lot of percussion tapping techniques. So we were tapping along nerve pathways or tapping bone and things like that. And what it's designed to do is bring the nervous system out of shutdown into a more neutral state so that the person could function effectively. And it worked. It was amazing. Then I started to be curious. I wonder what that would be like if you did that on someone who was really hyperactive, like ADHD, right? And I tried it on them, and lo and behold, it brought their nervous system to neutral. So it could bring you out of hypervigilance to neutral or out of shutdown to neutral. I was like, well, that's really interesting. So I started to develop a few more. I developed another one over just after lockdown because I noticed muscles were becoming very defensive and guarded. And if you applied any pressure, they would push back. And so I started working more with the nervous system, these very, very, very light, almost like directional guidances to the nerves, like if you do this, to like almost like you're kind of like talking to the muscle saying, if you do this, then you can release the contraction. And then literally the contracted muscle will go and just release.